just to not have you on the podcast at all. I don't know why everybody's so terrified. We're just sitting in a room together alone. Like, not like that's the creepiest thing I've ever said. But,
no, that's actually, I don't think that is, John.
Yeah, no, probably more than likely not. But like, yeah, it's not that scary.
No, it's not that bad.
No, you're all good. So anyway, good morning.
Morning.
It's 9:00 and I'm off and we're doing a marathon run. So
Nice.
You're the first of, I think, 7 people today.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
People are going to be busy then.
Yeah, well, I like to take advantage of, if I'm going to take a day off, I may as well pack it up with whatever I need to do otherwise.
That's true.
Because I'm never going to get it done.
No, I get that.
So.
I do.
But, holy shit. So you're a rockhound, a mom, I don't know, almost, I guess, a faith healer? Sorta?
Spiritual.
Yeah.
Getting into it.
Well, I was going to say, yeah, that was the thing was, like, I didn't know whether to say that or not.
No, yeah.
Or, like, because you're just kind of very in tune with everything, you know? But you're not as super specific as the witch lady at Morningstar.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It depends, I guess, on who you are, what you want to call it. But just into holistic things, spiritual, all those expos and festivals, things like that. My mom does Reiki, so she's a practitioner.
Oh.
And then I do what I consider visionary art, which I think has potential to heal people as much as anything else.
Mm-hmm.
More spiritual healing.
Yeah.
Mood healing almost at times.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, it's kind of like mitigating all the negativity that people can easily, like, flow into and all that, or anger or hate or fiery shit that we can't talk about.
And it turns into physical disease a lot of times. It really does manifest that way.
I feel like that's like I'm not one way or the other about it, and I'm not willing to be one of those like super annoying assy skeptics.
Right.
It's just like I do sincerely agree with that, because when I started driving, I realized how lonely my life had become, even with having a partner, you know, all throughout my career and all that. Met Katie, everything was great, and then I was just stuck out all the time.
Yeah. And
it was miserable, and I was depressed, and I ballooned up 140 pounds. I was depressed. I couldn't make it upstairs without breathing heavy.
Yep.
And it all was just, you know, like I didn't realize, it's because I'm lonely. I'm miserable. I'm out here all the time, and I just need to do something different. But all that thought energy just went into me being just worse. You know, like I wasn't trying to get better. I didn't make any effort to get better. I just made every effort to be worse.
Right. It will physically manifest. I mean, even mental. You know, you have to be to that place to just kind of not care anymore, in a sense. It's a depression, like.
Yeah.
And depression will manifest physically, too. I mean, they have meds now that like stops pain because you're depressed, and it happens. That's so weird though, because I know that whatever, over the weekend we went up to the mountains, and to actually go out and reconnect with the world and you know, disconnect from digital everything, it's great, and it does feel good after all that's said and done. But like sometimes I do wonder whether we are on like a track where we're in excess of medication and chemicals they're going into us. Oh, yeah.
Or if some of those are necessary and we're just not finding the balance.
That's more what I think as well, coming from like the healthcare field, which I did for a long time. You know, vaccines, some of them I really agree with. I really, really do. Like the hepatitis ones. I'm not sure a newborn baby, 1 day old needs it, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But other ones like chickenpox, I really did not want to get that for my kids because I was like, it's pretty new. You know what I mean? Like in the grand scheme of things.
I was gonna say, didn't we like? And we're only talking because you're a few years younger than I am.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 or 3 years, not even that much younger. But yeah, we used to get sick. Yeah. That's it. Like one kid would get chickenpox, and then you put that one kid in a classroom, and you make the other kids play with him.
Yeah,
right. And that was the end of it.
It went around, and then you were done.
Because like there's no secondary. Like the second coming of chickenpox is shingles.
Right.
Right. So like, And there's even a super slim chance of that happening to a person. So it's easier just to get it done.
Yes and no. My neighbor just got shingles.
Really?
It was awful. Yeah, she's only a little bit older than we are.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have gone to her brain.
Oh.
It can blind you. All those lesions and stuff, they can go to your brain, to your eyes. They can go anywhere in your body,
Ooh.
So it's actually really horrible, and it lasts a long time. The rash is supposed to be like hand, foot, and mouth, which I was fortunate enough to have a severe case of.
Yeah.
And that's horrible. It is bad. But I'm not sure. Like I said, I don't know what the long term is, what those weighing those odds would look like, because we're not 50 years down the line,
right?
And we have these people who had it, and now we know that their arm didn't fall off from cancer or something. It freaks me out.
I was gonna say, it is kind of weird that now, especially, like, we just went and saw Mother last night. It was a really good movie, but it was all about like whatever the under plot of it was all about, like the immediacy of everything. We can come up with something and we can come up with an idea, and there's no way to get to that point where, especially if it's a new idea, where like we don't have any testing behind it, we don't have any actual knowledge behind it, and it's like when we need to figure out how to get using chicken, for example, like World War II, we needed bigger, stronger chickens that grew faster so that we could feed our troops. So they went and they genetically farmers just went and were like, okay, well, let's pick the strongest.
Right.
It's selective.
Right. Selective breeding.
Selective breeding. They selectively bred it. Those are the same chickens that you get on the shelf today. Like if you go to the store, those are all genetically the same chickens. All go back to those two.
Yeah.
And at the time it really solved that problem, but then we didn't realize that, okay, well, this selective breeding at a high time in American culture where everything was easy to adapt to profitability, led to genetic engineering genetically engineered farming,
right?
Which selective breeding is one thing, and selective breeding is a natural process, and it's a logical process,
right?
But you got to wonder if that need then led to the idea that oh, well, we need giant fruits and apples that never rot, and it's like, well, all of a sudden we have problems.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm not, and I've researched so much of that I understand GMOs are definitely a bad thing, but at the same time, selective breeding is absolutely different, and people just don't measure, they mesh that line together and they say it's all the same thing, and it's like, well, no. If you have, even with my biggest fascination is growing mushrooms. Mm-hmm. And if you start with a syringe full of, hang on, it'll come to me. Anyway, so you start with a syringe full of spores, right? Commonly. So you take that syringe is full of multi-cultured spores, so it doesn't. So they come from a whole bunch of different mushrooms. You take that spore, you put it into a brick of sawdust, whatever, you squirt it in, you let the mycelium colonize. You watch as the mushrooms grow. You take it, and then you're starting the process over again. So even with pink oyster mushrooms, you find one that's the pinkest, it grew the fastest, it's the strongest, and it's got the best pliability. You take that one, you take samples from that mushroom, take a spore print from that mushroom, and then you grow from him, and that's the selective breeding process.
Well, I think it's almost subconscious, isn't it? I mean, that's what we do. That's what humans do. If we were to gather things, we would pick the nicest berries or the nicest plants, heirloom plants, the seeds. Same thing. They're the good. Yeah, it's the plants.
Yeah, and it's the best of things, and that's the most sensible thing to do. And then I think at some point somebody was like, "Well, we could fast track it." So
we can do this with everything.
Yeah. So as soon as I throw this twig on the ground, a pine tree is gonna pop up in 6 months, thanks to all the gnarly chemicals that I've been putting into it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, it gets into that hairy zone where it's almost mad science-y from when we were kids. You know, we were all terrified of the guy in the white lab coat with the giant mustache doing weird stuff. He might be.
Some of them are probably.
Some of them more than likely are, but
they've all got a good story.
Yeah, exactly. It's just I don't know. It gets so nowadays opinions on anything just get so finicky that I'm not pro Monsanto, but I am pro people that live in deserts not dying because they have fast growing fruit.
Yeah, it'd be great if we could get all the food to them.
Yeah.
That would be lovely.
So
I'm a little bit weird with that. I don't like food sprayed with chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because Cooper, my son, was sick.
Right.
And we know that had an environmental cause. And
Did
it's
it?
new. Yes, they know that. They don't know what the cause is. They're looking in the troposphere and following the wind patterns. It was Kawasaki disease, and he had it twice within 1 month, which everybody said he couldn't have had it the first time, and he did. And then they're like, well, no, he definitely doesn't have it the second time. It's less than 1% chance. And he did.
Wow.
So they know that there's a genetic factor. So he has that. And then they know that there's an environmental factor. We don't know what it is. They're thinking it possibly could be a new pathogen, which is not a germ, not a virus, not a spore, nothing that we're aware of. It might be new. They literally have no idea what it is. The first main outbreak and wave of cases was like the 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
So that's relatively new,
right?
Considering all of the crap that we've done to the world. That's right around a good time to start showing things.
Yeah.
And it kills kids if it's left untreated.
I didn't realize that was, because I followed all your posts and all that. I didn't realize that was I thought that was a lifetime thing. Honestly, I thought Kawasaki was one thing that stuck with you.
It is, and it isn't. If you Google it, it'll say it's an acute disease. They get over it relatively short term.
Okay.
If you're the parent of a child with it, you know that my son can't get a dental exam without his cardiologist signing off on it. They won't touch him. No one will touch him because he never had the treatment in time. I took him to about 6 appointments within a week because I knew something was wrong. Very high fever that would not go down. I mean, he was in the bathtub. I had him in the bathtub to keep his fever down. Ibuprofen didn't work. Tylenol didn't work. I'm talking like 105 degree fever for probably about a week, and I kept taking him to the doctor, and they kept saying, oh, it's Coxsackie virus, it's this virus, it's just that. And I was like, no, he's got a rash all over his body that would kind of disappear and then come back in different places. And they're like, oh, well, rashes are common with viruses. And I was like, this is not my child. Like, he was laying down all day. He just wasn't himself. Cheeks bright red, lips bright red. Took him to the ED. His eyes, the white parts of his eyes, both started bleeding underneath and filled up with blood.
Oh.
And thank God, actually, we were in the emergency room when that happened, because I know kids, he was 4, you know what I mean? Their eyes don't usually fill up with blood unless they've been hit very hard.
Right.
But we were in there, and I called out for a nurse. I said, somebody needs to come in here. And they're like, oh, that's from coughing. And I was like, I worked in the ED. I've seen some croupy kids. I've never seen a bilateral subconjunctival hemorrhage. Well, finally, on day 9, we saw a float doctor, a Dr. Shanahan, who I credit with saving Cooper's life. And he said, I think what we have here is something called Kawasaki disease. And I had never heard of it. Well, he left the room to consult a friend of his from school. And he was a specialty doctor in it. And he consulted him, and he was like, yeah, we're going to do some tests. Came back on day 10, which is the last day for the only treatment, which is IVIG, which, by the way, takes 1,000 plasma donors to create 1 dose.
Wow.
And most kids need 1 to 3 doses to beat KD. Otherwise, they can have coronary artery aneurysms, heart attacks, strokes, multi-system organ failure. Kubi didn't get it in time. So his chances from having cardiac disease for the rest of his life went from around 2% up to 25%. So he got put on about 3 months of aspirin, which was difficult to get at the pharmacy because they looked at the age and they're like, we're not giving it to you. And I said, he's got Kawasaki disease. And they actually knew what that was. Right. They're like, okay. And I was like, oh, like, damn, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, he will have a cardiologist for the rest of his life. He has arthritis, which was caused by the Kawasaki. He has that for the rest of his life. He has a rheumatologist.
Wow.
It's something that we always have to watch, mainly because it wasn't recognized. Right. Which is why I'm all about awareness. I tell his nurses, I tell his teachers, I tell his friends' parents, just because there's a lot of kids. You think, oh, high fever. You know, you see the signs. If you go to a pediatrician or a doctor's office, it says if your child has a fever for more than 5 days, high fever, please, let us know. They don't tell you why. Right. There's a couple reasons, but I never knew about Kawasaki until that. And
I was going to say, I never would have known I never would have known outside of knowing you either. Like, I never would have heard of it.
Yeah, it's actually on the rise now.
Is it?
Yeah. Last I knew, it was like 18 out of every 100,000 kids are diagnosed with it.
Wow.
We don't have the most here, but it does follow the wind pattern. California has a lot, Japan has a lot, and China has a lot. It follows the wind when the breakouts are. But the CDC doesn't think we need to be following it and tracking it.
Right.
Which I have an issue with personally because...
Hang on a second. I got to calm my dogs down there. They just have a problem with being stuck in the kitchen for too long.
What can you blame them?
But I was going to say, and right before we had to take that small break, but you're saying that the CDC doesn't follow it as much as it seems like they should?
Yeah, they don't think that it's something that should be required, to be, I can't think of the word.
It should be, I was going to say investigated as...
or reported. The cases shouldn't be reported, is what they're saying, which I think personally, if you get an STD, that's got to be reported. They report it instantly. This is on the rise. It kills kids.
Yeah.
And it's in the environment somewhere, possibly the wind. They're thinking, so yeah, I think that would be pertinent. I think that would be important to follow and see exactly how many we are dealing with.
Right.
Since we don't really know.
Well, that seems kind of like, the information that's needed to be gained out of that, like, it seems like they should be paying massive attention to it.
Exactly.
But who knows? We're goofy like that, and it's bureaucracy, and it's paying attention to what's going to cost the most to follow, and it's nonsense.
It is.
It's goofy.
Well, that's why that's what really got me more into nature and into the holistic, really, to be honest with you. When this is going to sound a little bit strange, but I really, truly believe in it. When Cooper got sick, there wasn't anything that I could do. Nothing was working. There was no medicine that was going to bring his fever down. There was nothing that I could do once we found out. For a week, I didn't know if he was going to, have a massive heart attack any second until we got the echoes and whatnot. I didn't know. So I made him a pouch. It's a little bag, a medicine bag, really. And that's what it is. I later learned that there was such a thing, but I just did it. I know about crystals. You said I'm a rock hound, but I really was like just a crystal collector before this. And I think they have energy. I can feel that. You can feel different energies with different crystals. So I made him a pouch that was like, I thought would help him. And I put good intentions into it. He refused to go to bed without that medicine bag. He took it everywhere with him. And I think a lot of it's like the power of prayer. There's intentions. There's good vibes. You're putting it out there. You're asking the universe for it to happen, for healing. You're opening yourself up to healing,
right?
By having that. I mean, what's the worst that it can do, even if you are a skeptic?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's
that's one of those that like I don't even. There's no reason to be negative about that either, because it's not. Even if it does, it does.
Not hurting anybody.
If it doesn't, it doesn't. And you're not taking any energies or anything away from anyone, or you're not impeding anybody for the sake of proving that it like it doesn't make a difference. You know,
right?
Like, yeah,
it's more a self thing.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely
for self. And actually, my son now, he knows a lot about gems, and I don't know if that's from the rock hounding. You've been with me, and I did bring you these samples. Those are from the place that we went, which I would not suggest people go to if you happen to recognize it from any of the pictures that I have shared in the past, because it's a widowmaker, and like it needs help. Definitely needs help. Some sort of coalition before somebody gets killed in there, because it's easily accessible and it's not good. You've seen it. It's not good. But yeah, these actually came from the same place.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. You said it was
those are garnet.
Garnet. Okay. So garnet stone is that's the I'm absolutely colorblind. So like going rock hounding with you I'm completely colorblind.
Oh my goodness.
Going with you was really the only thing that made it easy was that the azurite is blue.
I did not realize. No wonder, because
I can easily pick that out, but like when it comes to other stuff, if it comes to a stone that's like lightly off earth color,
okay,
I can't see it. It's like I'm looking at nothing. So yeah,
These are like a maroonish. One of them in there is a bit more peachy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was gonna say I see the shining in it. That's cool though. But like garnet, they make rings and like stuff like that.
That's a semi-precious gemstone.
That's so cool.
And then this one is digenite, which you'll see. It's kind of shiny and silver looking. It's actually really brittle. And it looks almost black. It's actually blue. That is very, very dark blue. Kind of looks like a biotite mica if you're looking at it in a chunk like that. But you can tell if you do some other testing on it that it's definitely not. It's digenite. And there's been a few people that I've been to at expos that I've talked about. There's other rock hounds, either resale people there or the hounds themselves, and not too many of them have found digenite. So I was like, oh, that's like my trade secret.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's so cool. And I was gonna say Katie's really into it too. Like we went with you up north there on 74, and I was curious about like how did you guys find you and another rock hound found that spot, right? He found it first.
I found it first. Okay, I shared it with him.
Oh, okay.
And then through some of his connects, I found out that they knew of it too.
Right.
I found it online, just looking around. Yeah, but it's dangerous. I mean,
it's a little. It's
past sketchy.
Yeah.
It's far past that. It's not safe. It's on the side of a highway.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't take kids or animals.
And I was gonna say, to put it in relative terms, it's kind of like it's in the bank and there's a hole that's going down in just
it's a road cut. Yeah.
It's the cut in the road. So there's a hefty amount of weight above you, and there are some shorings in there. But
you will become a permanent fixture in the landscape if that comes down, and it's going to. There's water running through it. You can dig your fingers out. I was just there not long ago, and it's like, ooh,
yeah,
it's past sketchy. Really, for the things that are found there are safer places.
Yeah,
and there are better specimens. So there's that. Oh, they broke in.
It'll be fine. As long as they're good. They're just,
I don't mind them.
Yeah, no, it just needs to be quiet.
But yeah, it's dodgy.
Yeah. No, it really is, but I mean that does add to it in the idea that like it is really fun because of that. Goose. All right.
Goose, get down.
Hang on a second. Sorry. Goose, come on.
Uh-oh.
Come on.
You're in trouble.
Go. I know you're curious. That's like it's all right.
Yeah, no, it's. I wouldn't go there again.
I was gonna say I certainly wouldn't recommend it if it's your first. Like, if you decide you want to go rock hounding and check it out, like I wouldn't want to.
I wouldn't go in at all.
Yeah.
Matter of fact.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. No, I've checked it out. I wouldn't go in at all. I mean, you could use a rake.
Yeah.
And like pull out some of the pieces, but I would not go in at all.
Yeah, it's
you couldn't pay me to take a chisel and a hammer in there anymore looking at it.
That's like the entrance to the there used to be a mine down towards it's somewhere between York, New Salem, and Jefferson. So it's like they're in the mountain. It's like in the hills, and there used to be a mine there. They blocked off all the entrances because people were spelunking it, doing that and getting hurt. And the only way into it is a hole that's about as wide as your hips and maybe just deep enough for your head to pass through, and then you go down this little tube, and then it opens up into a giant room. I can't handle the idea of that, trying to put my feet in there and wondering what's inside this hole. Like, I think it's definitely on the primitive side of me, of fears. Like, when you can't see water,
right? If
you look down and you can't see your feet in water, it's natural to be terrified. It's because you don't know what's down there. There's predators.
Yeah.
And if you can't, if you have to go feet first into a hole just to go dig, and then it's already dangerous because it's an abandoned mine.
Well, yeah. And collapsed.
Yeah, it didn't collapse. It was a dolomite.
Oh, nice.
I think it was a dolomite vein, and they ran it out. And once they ran it out, they're like, all right, we're done. And
they just left.
They just left the hole.
Oh, see, those are really nice though.
And it's really cool that they have that, and super adventure. Go into the mine and check it out. But
dude, honestly, if there's dolomite in there,
yeah,
I'll probably go in.
Yeah. Well, I was the one that I used to live by is the old brick refractory out there. So the quarry's right next door, and we had dolomite veins in the yard. It was just there. You know, and they
there's a lot of you can find associated minerals with these things. Oh yeah, but it's just like finding plants where you'll find a certain plant, and then
right,
there's wild ginseng grows with that, so I'm gonna start looking for that stuff like that.
I got you.
It's all tied together. Really, everything's tied together.
Yeah,
even minerals, plants, people, everything's tied together. So once you know that and you know the relationships between them, it pretty much makes everything easier identifying wise as well, because you can have two different minerals, two different plants that look alike, but their neighbor plant is the distinguisher, or one of them. It's the thing that you notice next that you're like, okay, well, that happens to be pertinent. And then you continue to look into it. I wouldn't ID anything based on that alone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess mushrooms are like that.
Yeah,
some of them.
Some of them are, and that's the problem with mushrooms is that of 8,900 known species, which they still find them. They still find a couple every year.
Yeah.
Because some will just spores will mix the right way and they'll grow naturally. But with mushrooms, it's of the 8,900 known species, maybe 100 are edible.
Right.
And maybe 100 won't kill you. And a lot of them look exactly the same. Mm-hmm. And they're the only known, they're everything has a common rule. Everything oh, this is where it grows. It won't be here. It won't be there.
Right.
It's anything that's growing on a pine tree, don't eat it.
Right. See, there you go.
Anything that's bone white, if it's bone or blanch white, so it's got that yellowish white to it,
right,
don't eat it.
Right.
And Pennsylvania is lucky enough that the better edible mushrooms here are puffballs. They're super easy to identify. It looks like a white tennis ball out in your yard.
Chicken of the woods.
Chicken of the forest is orange. It's bright orange and it grows on a tree trunk. You can't miss it. There are no others that grow that way. There's a red spongy mushroom. I can't remember the name of it right now. Bolete. The bolete mushroom makes a really good soup. Bright red. It's got it's a porous head. Instead of having gills, it's a more porous cap. So that one's super easy to find. The deciduous and pine forests that cover Pennsylvania make it so easy to identify and discern between edible mushrooms and non-edibles, because anybody that's even going out looking for mushrooms, they're doing it once a year when those little green stems with the white goofy things on top. It's not chanterelles, because chanterelles grow in Pennsylvania too, but so does jack-o'-lantern. They're orange. They look pretty close to the same, but jack-o'-lanterns will kill you. They're phosphorescent.
Nice.
Excuse me. They grow once we break our first ground freeze, like we get into the warm days, they grow. I can't remember the name of them right now, of course, but like they grow all over the United States, and people like hunt them down, and they're super good. They taste like almonds when you fry them. I forget the name of it.
Oh,
super most common mushroom in the entire world, and yeah, it's not on the top of my mind. Some friends of mine found,
oh my goodness,
found
I know what you're talking about.
Columbia this year, all over. But yeah, it gets to be like that. Yeah, you know, you do have those identifiers, because I was wondering that about rock hounding too, is how do you, with the, like, especially with the spot up on 74, was, you know, how do you find places like that?
Well, they found that one in like 1972 or I think it was 74. I was 72 or 74 when they were expanding the road.
Oh, okay.
They just so happened to hit it, and they're like, "Oh, hey, look, that's blue and green," you know. But like I said, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
it's under quite
a
bit,
yeah.
So that's the issue. But you can tell from the top, the soil on top. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you can tell what's underneath.
Oh, okay.
There's certain things that you look for, like iron ores around here. Hematite, we have a lot of it. Pyrite, we have a super lot of that. So you can tell by looking at the stuff on top what's going to be good and what's going to be underneath. If you know that the water table runs through it, like the one in 74, then you can kind of, and you know, I mean, around here we have a lot of copper.
Oh, yeah.
We have a lot of iron. We have a lot of all that. So the water table is there. You can expect you're going to get a certain kind of crystal. You're going to get something that forms with water. And there's a lot of pretty ones of those.
Yeah.
And it's got to be that running water. And that's going to give you those coatings of like the azurite and the malachite. It's going to turn your chalcopyrite and give you opal. That you can't. Wow. Yeah, there's some highlight opal up there too.
I didn't know. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you have to take a black light. You take one of those and it'll kind of glow green. But that's how you can find it. It's just clear. It's not gem quality or anything. It's just cool to have.
Yeah, it's still neat though. Like it falls into that, like, if you're gonna do it for the sake of, like, you can absolutely do it as a hobby, or you can do it as a business, because people do want good looking stones.
Yes.
You know, and if you're doing it as a hobby, like, yeah, it might be clear, but it's still really cool looking. And, and it's,
if you like the minerals, that's all that matters.
Yeah. And if you manage to find a day that you went out and you did something and you get to feel accomplished by the end of it, it doesn't matter what you're after. You know, like, like, especially with me, because I have attention span problems. But like, yeah, if I can go out and like, oh, I'm looking for this specific thing, and if I don't find it, I found all this other cool stuff.
That's me.
And I got to be outside anyway, so
that's a reason to go back.
Yeah.
And then you get to learn about it. I do it because I'm addicted to learning, I think. I can't stop. I bore easily, so I have to keep my head going. Yeah. I have no other choice. I started doing it just because I really liked crystals and stuff, and then I've turned more into, as my friend Dee called it, a crystal shaman, which is like, I respect the crystals. And even if it's, you know, what some people would say, oh, well, that's not really the best sample. I'm like, but it's got this piece on it. But do you know what it took to form it? But do you respect, you know, like I start going over that. And then actually I kind of put that to good use. I went in to my son, Paxton. Oh my gosh. He's getting too old. He's in first grade now. I can't believe I'm saying that. I just had a moment. But I went into his class and talked to his teacher, and she wants me to, you know, well, not wants me to, but we talked about it. And I, you know, talked about how I'm a mineralogist, kind of self-proclaimed. I learn a lot about them. I go places, specialize in the York County ones, I like to think. So I'm going to get my clearances and going to go in and teach the kids this year a little segment.
Yeah, that's really cool.
About York County minerals, because they're doing rocks for science.
That's
they're
awesome.
They're doing sand and rocks. And she was like, well, yeah, let's do that. She's like, get your clearances. I think it's only like $10 or something.
Yeah, it's not much.
She's like, hey, do you mind doing maybe a couple other classrooms when you come in? She's like, because I have friends that are teachers in the same grade, and I'm sure they would love that, because I was going to bring in my samples, maybe, you know, give the kids a piece of little pyrite or something if they're allowed to have it. That's from York County, goethite cube, something like that, and teach them about it.
Right.
You know, teach them that, well, here, do you know that this is actually part of the African plate?
What?
We are on the African plate.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, we are in York.
Really?
York Lancaster is part of the African plate. If when we split, it would have gone, we would be past the shoreline.
Really?
Yeah, this is technically the African plate, which is why we have the minerals that we have here.
Oh.
If you go a little bit west, you're not going to find quartz.
Really?
No. You're not going to find a lot. You'll find it, but you're not going to find, a little bit west, you're not going to. No.
I was going to say the amount of it, like,
it's everywhere
it comes
here.
up, yeah,
the clay soil.
Yeah, you can kick it up. It's pretty,
it's
like,
clay.
Finding quartz is super easy around here.
You go west, it's not really so clay.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and, like, even as far as, no, there's a huge clay deposit from when they started building Gladfelder down in Spring Grove. They took all the clay dirt out into the Pigeon Hills.
Yeah.
And they dumped it all on one of the creek beds. And over the years, it's actually become some of the best clay in the, like, it's just free and open and out, and it's like it's just there, and it's as natural a clay as you can get.
Yeah.
And it's easy to throw, and it's a good stiffness, and it's a really good burn. It cooks real easy.
Nice.
So, and yeah, that
you can make
like
terracotta pots.
Oh yeah, that'd be really fun.
Like I would do that.
Yeah,
I would go harvest some clay with you for terracotta pots.
I was gonna say the last time I did that, I did go out there to harvest some clay, and some guy showed up and he's like, "I just brought this property. Could you get off it?" And I was like,
"Can I have some of your clay?"
And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "What are you doing here anyway?" And I was like, "I'm taking some of your clay." And he's like, "Oh, I thought it was just dirt." And I was like, "No, it's clay, man." So I'll take it home and make pots out of it.
I'm going to take it home and make pots out of it.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize, but yeah, ask next time. So yeah, it's just like, that's the thing, is you got to be mindful of that stuff. Like,
same with rock hounding.
Yeah. When you start getting into like,
foraging.
Especially when you start getting into like going out in the state forests or going out in the state game lands and stuff, you got to be mindful of where you're digging, or what
even
season
certain
it is.
feathers you pick up.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I was gonna say, do they? DCNR comes after people for like.
If there would be an eagle feather, you can't take that.
Really?
No.
I didn't realize it was that bad.
Yeah, you can't take that.
I don't understand why it's there.
I don't really understand why either. I think it's for their protection, so that people can't come out of the fort. They couldn't like kill an eagle, pluck it, come out, sell the feathers because it's an eagle. Yeah. So the feathers, I guess, sell. Maybe they're trying to protect them, like the ivory trade, trying to stop that. I don't know, but I always kind of I pick up feathers everywhere I go.
Yeah,
I like to make stuff with them.
I was gonna say, so does Katie. That's actually.
She told me how to bleach them. That's amazing. Like the peroxide thing.
I didn't know that either. But yeah, those feathers I think came off of macaw. Somebody's macaw passed away. That's why they're so pretty. I have no idea. We have a giant bag of macaw feathers downstairs because some guys
he plucked it.
It was a 65-year-old bird. Like,
what?
The bird was way old. He had inherited it.
65 years old.
He thought he was gonna die before the bird. He did not die before the bird. He was very upset about it. But yeah, he did have it plucked because he wanted Katie to make him a dream catcher out of it.
Oh.
So yeah, I agree, because that would be weird. That'd be like me skinning the dog or having a stuffed dog on the back porch. It'd be weird. I just kind of I inherited the stuffed dog, but like, yeah, I'm not gonna keep my dogs after they're gone. Like, I don't need them. It's
you have
weird.
A stuffed dog?
Yes, Katie found it at a property, and it
how is that inherited?
Well, somebody told me to take it. Somebody told Katie to take it, and she was like, "Okay, that's fine," and she took it. And I wish she wouldn't have, because it creeps me out. Like, I can understand that, and I understand, like, I don't hunt myself because I like to bow hunt, and I just don't have the time for it. Like, I don't like owning firearms. It's not a thing of mine. It's not a fascination. I do like archery, though. That's something I do find. Like, more in a primitive vein, it does, like,
more skill involved.
And but yeah, if I took something down, it'd be for the meat. I don't want to take. I don't need to take a trophy. That's just me. Yeah. So I feel kind of like the stuffed dog is somebody's trophy, but it's a stuffed dog. Like, it looks like Goose. What kind of dog is? Oh. It looks like Goose. It's a pet.
Are you serious? Somebody stuffed their pet.
Somebody stuffed their pet, and it's creepy, and it's old. Like, they had to stuff in the 80s. You got me, but it just it seems unnecessary. But yeah, that I didn't realize that, because like I know with mushrooms now. Luckily, psilocybin cubensis doesn't grow naturally in Pennsylvania. We're not far enough north. Okay. It does grow naturally through any state that falls above Pennsylvania between the months of November and January, depending on the weather, psilocybin cubensis will grow freely.
Nice.
From Washington State all the way into Michigan. Not northern tip of Michigan, like southern tip of Michigan. This is just information for anybody listening.
Yeah,
But yeah, they'll grow free. They'll grow freely, and they're easy to identify.
Yeah.
And luckily, there's guidebooks you can buy off Amazon.
Yeah,
and,
guidebooks are great.
And
really, with anything.
But with Washington state law, if you're caught picking up mushrooms of any kind, foraging for any reason, you'll be arrested and fined.
For any kind of mushroom.
Any kind of mushroom. And there was
that's
the most recent case that I read about was a guy. He's a psilocybin cubensis researcher, not like Terrence McKenna, like space, like spaceman researcher, but like actual cubensis researcher. And he was walking down a road. He didn't realize it was a state road, but on the bank he saw cubensis that were a different color. They were definitely in the same genus. They were new. So
nice.
he picked them,
threw
them in his pocket, and a ranger came up to him and arrested him for having a controlled substance for something that's growing freely in the dirt, which I don't know. It's a gray area, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
And he's facing like a $25,000 fine and losing his home over it. His wife is dying. Like, it's such a stupid situation over that, especially when it's for the sake of research. But
yeah.
It is easily abused.
That's true.
It is super easily abused. My neighbor was caught. Somebody called in a noise complaint on my neighbor because he had a boombox going way too loud one night. They found a pot farm and a mushroom farm in his garage, and
oh my God.
Yeah, that's weird. Like
that is.
I'm pro usage. That's fine, but if you're gonna I don't know, there's a right way to do it.
Yeah.
Growing mushrooms right next to where you're wrenching on your motorcycle, maybe not the greatest thing for the world.
Yeah.
But it just it gets into that weird thing where I wouldn't have thought of that. If I saw a pretty feather while I'm walking through the forest and I pick it up for Katie, and I'm getting arrested over it, I'm gonna be pissed. Like that is gonna be like one of those things.
You I don't know if you'll get arrested.
But
or so much as a
fine.
Big ass fine. Yeah.
Well, and I was gonna say, and that's that's bureaucratic frustration because at one point when we lived out in East Berlin, Katie came home and there were turkey buzzards circling.
Yeah.
And Jesus.
What's that?
Go, John. I left my alarm on. Yeah, I'm doing super great today. But no, so she was coming down the road to her house and there were turkey buzzards circling, but they weren't circling a kill. As she drove to the house,
they were just circling nothing.
They were sick. They were deadly sick because she watched 4 or 5 of them just fall. They didn't.
Oh no!
They didn't come down. They just fell. And so she drove out into the field that was next to us. She was checking them out, and she called DCNR and said, "Hey, you have a whole bunch of sick birds out. You have a whole bunch of sick turkey buzzards out here." And they're like, and she was like, and one was suffering, so I rolled over it with a car, but it's still here. It's fresh. She didn't want.
Oh my God, Katie! What? Yeah. Oh my God!
And okay. DCNR was like, "Well, stay there. We're gonna have to come out and investigate. And you told me that you rolled over it, so we're gonna have to fine you for it too.
What?
For killing him because
it was a mercy killing.
Turkey buzzards are protected, but
turkey buzzards are protected.
Believe it or not, they are.
God, they're
because
the scariest looking things I've ever seen.
I hate them, and they're gross, and they sound so loud.
They've come after me before when I was a child.
Did you get too close to their nest? Did they puke on you?
I don't know. I don't. They just circled me and were threatening. They were thinking bad things. I could tell.
But so that never came to fruition anyway. So it's no big deal. But the whole thing was Katie was calling because maybe it was bird flu, maybe it was maybe to see that happen in the moment, that's real weird. That's very you wouldn't expect it. But people get fines for hitting protected birds with their car because the bird flies in front of them. And it's just because them's the rules. You know, it's just that systematic them's the rules thing.
Well, that sucks.
It has
to be like that.
but yeah, you always when you're going out into the woods, like, be careful about that stuff.
Yeah. Well, I've been getting into foraging, and you have to be careful with that, too, because, like, the ones that are available are on the side of the road. If it's, like, plants, and it's like, well, I don't want that if I'm going to use it for anything, you know? And then whose property is it?
Yeah.
Are they okay with it?
Well, I was going to say, but we do have a good amount of, like, you can't take anything out of Nixon, I think.
Oh, that's a county.
Yeah, because it's a county. I think it's a county preserve or something like that.
Yeah, that's a preserve, wildlife preserve.
Yeah, which
or
sucks because they grow a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, they grow a lot of cool stuff there.
Oh, I know.
But like, they have really beautiful Jack in the Pulpits that come up.
Well, those are very toxic.
Well, yeah, no, they're but they're really pretty. That's the thing. But like State Forest, it's not Cooper's Rock, Schaefer's Rock State Forest down south of it's southwest of Chambersburg on the Maryland line. So I guess it's Fayetteville County, maybe.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Either way, it's not too far off, but it's a huge swath of land on the Appalachian Trail, and you can go out there and do whatever you want to do.
Really?
And you can camp out there. It's on the trail, so as long as you're backpack camping, and you move every morning, you could basically live in the forest if you want.
Nice.
You just can't establish your own little, like, you can't establish a long-term camp.
Right.
But you can't
just set up shop.
Yeah. So it's pretty, and it's neat that we have that kind of stuff, because even going up into Benezet County, like the mountains, quote unquote, here in Pennsylvania. But like even going up there, you're gigantic swaths of state land.
Yeah, and exactly.
Like, and it's there for you to go. You can go ATVing. You can go backpack camping.
You can't forage. You can't pick up a feather.
Yeah, just be careful what you pick up and who's watching.
Yeah, I can't go to places like that because I will get a fine for picking up rocks. If I see a rock, I can't. I don't have it in me. I'm sorry. I don't have it in me to not pick it up.
Well, didn't you, isn't there something about there's something that is in the Adirondacks too that you were saying about taking a bus trip to? Isn't there like Adirondack Diamonds or something weird, kind of goofy like that? Something in New York State. I don't remember.
Oh, that's in New York. Yeah.
Okay.
There's Herkimer diamonds.
What is that?
They are naturally formed, very clear, very pretty quartz crystals that are double terminated. So they have a point on each end. Mm-hmm. Maybe that big. Oh. Really pretty. They come in all sizes, but they look like diamonds. That's how clear they are.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, they're the best quality. Double terminated quartz that they actually just gave them a name, like the Herkimer diamond, like the Cape May diamond.
Right.
You've heard of that?
Yeah, I was gonna say I learned all about that on vacation this year.
Yeah, nice.
They're super neat.
Yeah, they are.
And and I was just saying it's quartz and it looks so pretty, and they really do a good job of charging you a bunch if you want to get them like put into a ring. Yeah.
Oh, you can get them cut cheaper.
I was gonna say, but there's the convenience of having them right in the parking lot.
Exactly. There's lots of corals in the parking lot. I picked up fossilized coral from that beach, Sunset Beach.
Yeah,
lots of fossilized coral.
It's really pretty, and then everything as soon as you hit the water line, everything just drops off. And that scares me to death. Like,
really?
Like it literally is the end of the continent because that's right where Jersey stops. And
it is.
If you take a step, you're gonna fall into a giant hole. Like I've always had a problem with the beaches, with going to the beach. Ocean City, Maryland. With your feet in the water? Ocean City, Maryland, the water's not clear.
Yeah, with
your feet. So I'm always stepping on stuff. I've been attacked by crabs, all that kind of but I love being out in the ocean, and I love being in the water. It's kind of like our one dog, Squirrel. Squirrel loves being in the water, but she has to get in the water on her own terms, and she won't do it unless she's out on a kayak. If she's out on a kayak, she'll go off. She'll happily jump off the boat into the water.
She won't walk in.
She won't walk in. She won't walk offshore. She will not walk down the beach at Pinchot. She does not care for any of that. She has to be. It's very specific. So I get anxieties when if it's a beach that I have.
That's why you have that dog. Yeah, and she has you.
Yeah, and if I have to walk down a giant shelf, I have a problem with that. It's just weird. That, and I can see the concrete boat. And I have a problem with shipwrecks. The USS Atlantis. Yes, I have a problem with shipwrecks too because it's creepy.
What?
When I can see them. Did you ever see the picture? There's a picture of a yacht that sank in. It was circumnavigating.
Okay.
This beautiful yacht, and it was going through the Antarctic Ocean and sank. They scuttled it, and it's in like 3,000 feet of water.
Right.
But from a helicopter,
you can see
it, and it looks like it's right there.
And that freaks you out.
And it bothers me. I don't know why, but it terrifies me. And
that
like
is
if
strange.
I can see the tip of I have nightmares where I can see the tip of a boat, and as I get closer I can see the rest of the boat, and then I can see everybody like jumping off the boat and dying, and it's like I don't know what it is, but
probably a past life.
I was gonna say I think it's a phobia or
well, yeah.
I was gonna say I didn't know the Titanic was on fire the whole time. I just learned that the other day. Yeah. But anyhow, so yeah, beyond all that, quartz is one of those things that like we don't even. Yeah, especially around here, we kind of take it for granted because it's so plentiful.
Oh, there's points all over here.
Absolutely, yeah. I was
gorgeous
gonna say,
little points.
We could walk down to the train tracks and find anything we need just right there.
Dig a hole in your backyard.
Yeah,
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
I'm not surprised. You're such an you're one of those like super eclectic human beings.
Yeah.
You're just there.
I am all over the place.
And like I was gonna say
I am a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and everybody would be like, "Oh, that girl's crazy," but it's like, no, she's not. You're incredibly intelligent.
I might be a little.
Yeah, but you're like super motivated, and you're just kind of like, I think. It's the same problem I have where, like, the things that I focus on in life are way different than everybody else.
Yes, that's what it is. I love learning, and I can't stop learning, but I like learning about different things.
Yeah. I can't stick to one. Like, that's why I have this, is because, like, I can't stick to one thing. I got to learn. Yeah. I got to get new people, and I got to learn all about new stuff.
My head's got to go.
Yeah.
Just... That's how I don't have a TV. I haven't had a TV for years. I don't even have any that plug in. I don't have internet that works other than like Facebook if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
No home phone really. So literally the game systems, I took those out. My boys, we had game systems for a while.
Yeah.
And Jake brought them game systems and they loved that. They loved that a little too much. So I was like, no, we're not going to sit in here and play games all day. Like, and I could see a difference in them. They were more moody.
Yeah.
Very much more moody. And I think that just getting out into nature, you kind of get in tune.
Yeah.
Because I used to be a little bit out there, more so than I am now. But I think it grounds you.
Yeah.
Like you actually can become part of nature, part of the world again.
Yeah.
Because we just kind of walk around and we do our things and we exist and we have our mind set on other things, but we don't ever take the time to just stop and like look around and appreciate it. Like look at the grass, how it grows. It's cool. If you really look at it, it's very intricate. Like pick one up, pull it apart. You can make little bracelets with it if you want. You can do anything. Like the possibilities are completely endless. And just to live in the moment, to be in that moment is something that we don't do enough of.
Right. And like, because we get caught up in our, like, if everything's if everything's a cyclical system, like everything's a constant process, we get ourselves stuck in one process, and then we just throw every other process by the wayside, and you don't pay any attention to it, and then
exactly
the way that trees grow, the way the tree rings become their own design, how the wind affects how a tree's gonna stand, all that kind of stuff, like it's really beautiful.
No, it is,
and it's like at this, and then it just there we do need to develop a balance between regular life, like not even regular life, but like the mechanical life of keeping yourself safe and all that, and having a roof over your head and all that. Like,
right,
we do need to balance that with go out and realize that the world still is beautiful no matter what you're doing, because if you turn off and just go out, like you'll see that everything's trying to tell you something. Like it's that old it's that old Louis C.K. bit where like God comes back and he's like, what the fuck is money? What do you got? What are you doing?
Oh, what, we can swear?
What are these? What are these giant...
I can swear? You said fuck.
Yeah, what are these giant buildings? What do you guys...
What
do you mean jobs? You know what I mean? Like, like God's like, well, we gave you everything. You already had it. It was right there. What are you doing? And
She even ate the fucking apple. Yeah.
It is apple harvest season. It's end of October, right? No, early October.
People there's apple cider out. That's all I'm concerned with.
Yeah. No, well, have you ever been to the Apple Harvest Festival out in South Mountain?
No.
Super fun.
Really?
Believe it or not, like, you think you get sick of apples. There are so many species of apples that we grow in this area that it's pretty mind-bending to like walk around and learn. Like, there's so much to learn, and it's really cool. It's kind of like the fair, but without rides. It's really enjoyable.
So it's better.
It's yeah, a little bit.
That's what you're saying.
I was gonna say, and that's what I was bitching about. Was like, yeah, it is really educational. And like at the fair, I watched a group of kids with their phones up watching a cow get born, and they were actually really enthusiastic about the cow getting born.
Right.
And it was a really happy moment.
That is cool. I heard you could milk a cow. They had the cow milking station. I was like all excited. I'm like, oh, they got a cow milking station. I told my neighbor, I see that fucking cow. That ain't no cow.
Yeah.
It was a statue of a cow. And then Cooper, I was like, go ahead. And there's somebody, it was a statue of a cow and it had like udders and you milk it. And I'm like, come on, it's the fair.
Yeah.
It's the York Fair.
It's supposed to be gross and dirty.
You couldn't get a cow?
Yeah, we're supposed to learn like
gloves, maybe.
Yeah, we take that time to bring the 4-H in and learn that the 4-H is super important. And like,
I'm all about it. I think that we should get kids back to nature.
Yeah,
I think we need more social lives when it came to nature. Type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like we have a social life and it's big.
Right.
That's a big thing in our culture. What's not so big in our culture is like, well, you know, it's, I don't want to sound all Pocahontas on you, but like really like talking to like the trees, the wind, hearing it, having it communicate with you.
actually being attentive to it and like
be aware of it.
Yeah. And like when we have,
that's a beautiful thing.
And we have like, you know, the Future Farmers of America, we have the 4-H club, all that stuff, but like even in second or third grade, like it's already programmed into you to be like something to be like, that's a tribe and we got to stay away from it because look at them, they're weirdos, they're farming, and it's like no, we should hold them in super high regard because
they make our food.
They take all that stuff and they make food, and that's really awesome. And they like, you know, I got to split wood this weekend. Splitting wood was a really nice activity because it like I got to center with what I was doing and exert myself, and it was super fun.
I think anything that you take the time that you have to focus on, like I hula hoop.
You're right.
I use that as a meditation. Honestly, I use it as a spiritual meditation when I'm hula hooping because my mind, I told you, I like to think all the time.
Yeah.
That can manifest in anxieties where it's like I'll worry or I'll have an anxiety attack. I can't handle it. So I'll take my hoop and I'll hula hoop and I have to focus on keeping the hoop up. So yeah, you'll try tricks, anything you can to push your mind.
Right.
Just push it so that you really have to connect. You have to become one with this hoop. Your movements and its movements are completely synchronized. You have no time to think about anything else. When you're chopping the wood, you weren't thinking about anything else. You were thinking, I need to line this up, I need to hit it there, and I need to hit it like this. That in itself was a meditation.
Right.
Because you took that time to just be in that moment and be in one with it. You got rid of whatever else was on your mind and you did your thing. Yeah. And it felt good. Like, I think people should go back to more of, I mean, people like, they think of meditation and like, oh, I can't meditate. And I know because I was one of those people. I was like, if I sit like in a quiet room and I try to shut my mind off, it is not going to happen. I'll just be sitting there like, don't think of anything. And then I'll be like, you're thinking of saying, don't think of anything. And then you're off. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're off on new things. But if I like take a hula hoop, or even take some rocks and, you know, go rock hounding. I mean, nature. I'm thinking about the rocks. I'm reading the land. I'm reading the signs. I'm reading the water table, the different layers and the rocks. I'm not thinking about anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm thinking about that. That can be meditative. It can be healing almost in a sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like, I write and they said like when I'm writing, the biggest thing is people say, go for a walk. Just just go out, walk until you fall into, like, walk until you fall out of reality because you just, you're going to get there. And it is just the idea of left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot, and keep doing that. And it's that is a meditation of its own.
It is.
You're walking down a hiking path. You're walking down a city street. You're
letting everything else go.
You just gotta, you gotta find the way to let it go. And it is kind of like, because I couldn't sit and do that.
No,
cross
like
leg, just and
like maybe I could with the right circumstance. I could,
but it's not for me. And active meditation is doing this.
It's key. I love that.
Exactly.
I think that's important for a lot of people. A lot of people think that it should be always relaxing. Well, you can be relaxed and also be moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's totally possible.
Yeah. So that's like,
it's an option.
I can't fully disengage from anything, but I can relax from the things that worry me by engaging in something different.
Right.
And
exactly.
I used to knit chainmail, super simple activity.
I remember that.
And just, it's a super mechanical movement. Just do it. And then by the end of it, you've got either a giant piece of it. I did a couple of vests and stuff like that. But it is just, having your hands moving and doing that.
Keeping busy.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
And it's just, focusing on that. So what, you do have 2 rock and mineral shows coming up soon, right?
Sort of, yes.
Okay,
sort
of. That you're going to do your thing at.
Yeah, I wrote it down because I wanted to mention it. Actually, they're both for October 7th and 8th, which is kind of going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But Karma Fest, I'm going to be at on the 7th, and that's October 7th and 8th, and that is it's Karma Fest Unplugged. They do a lot of things. It's at the Haverty Grace location, which is 461 Quaker Bottom Road in Maryland. I'm going to be making some hula hoops, and they're going to be for sale there. A friend Morgan and I are going to be making some hoops, and they're going to be at another friend D of mine stand, and he is a rock hound. He has been to the same place.
I was gonna say, I've heard that name before.
Well, he's a crystal shepherd. I won't say rock hound. He's very respectful of the earth. He does a lot of things with wood. He makes plugs,
cool.
earplugs with wood, and he's a woodworker.
That's
really,
neat.
really cool guy. Really awesome guy. And then the next one is the Spirit of Oneness, which is October 7th and 8th as well. That is at the Zembo Shrine in Harrisburg. So that's really fun. It's a holistic expo, but there's also rocks, there's jewelry. There's a couple friends of mine are there. Starla Sue's creation with Reiki. She uses Reiki to infuse her artwork. She makes really cool gem trees and jewelry. Very, very cool lady. And she's also a Reiki practitioner.
Oh, cool.
And then there's another Mike Kilgore and Lorena Crow. They do intuitive readings. Oh. And they're really, really on point. I have to say, there's a lot of different people that you can go to. I like them. I've talked to people that have had readings with them, and just really down to earth, cool people.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I like the qualifier intuitive because that is actually
yes.
There is a huge difference.
Yes.
And that's
yes.
that definitely takes it out of the realm of
you have to raise your eyebrow and be like, really?
Yeah, I was gonna say, if I have to listen to the Long Island Medium one more time,
come on, Katie's gotta love her.
She does.
I love her.
She loves all that stuff.
I love Teresa
watching
Caputo.
About psychic.
If Teresa Caputo hears this, I love you.
She was watching something about psychics that solve murders. Which
that's happened.
Pretty cool. Yeah, I agree with that too. It fits into one of those things where it's like you could easily say my wife's into a lot of the same things you are,
right?
And it's not like I don't push off beliefs for the sake of being a doting husband to avoid conflict,
backlash,
because that's not that's nonsense,
right?
But it's just I always come at things like it's not something I'm familiar with. It's not something I grew up with. I grew up in a super strict Christian household. Right. I wasn't allowed to play D&D because I was told I was going to kill somebody and start worshiping the devil. It's it's just something I'm not familiar with. So I don't have an opinion on it. It's just I don't have enough of an understanding on it.
I'm kind of the opposite.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say your mom's been a Reiki practitioner.
Well,
forever.
that and I grew up like just seeing dead people. So that will do it.
Yeah.
It's just my experience. I know I've been validated. I do what I do. Other people see it. Other people, I know things that I shouldn't at times.
That's so weird.
I'm used to it.
Yeah.
It's not weird for me.
Well,
I'm completely
sure not.
used to it. It's easier for me to deal with than like this is scary for me.
Yeah.
Like this is scary. That is not scary. That I'm like in my comfort. I know how to do it. I know when I should leave. I know when it's dangerous or not. So that's easy for me.
That's cool. I think, I was gonna say, I think that's all it's definitely different thinking, but like,
I don't think I'm great. I'm not Teresa Caputo. I never said I was. I'm not anything like that. But friends of mine will say, something's going on in my house, and I'll say, don't tell me anything, and I'll come over and I'll tell them what's going on and what rooms and with what and and they'll know, and they'll be like, thanks. What can I do? And I'll be like, I don't know, or go here or do there, because certain things prefer certain ways. Sometimes you can just do a cleansing. Yeah. So I'll say, let me look into it. That's what I like to say first is let me look into it. I need to know what I'm dealing with first. I don't like to know, I don't like to charge people. I just kind of, if I'm going to help you out, I'll go there. If I feel anything, let me look into it and figure out a way that we could make it work. And if it's above my head, I'll just be like, look, I know some people. Let me get a hold of them, because I.
Well, yeah. And that's one other thing is like, I do believe a lot in the teachings of Terrence, the ramblings of Terrence McKenna and like Ray Kurzweil, and the idea of us being receptors frequency-wise for all the different things that go on around us, different realities, different realms, different existences, like past lives and all that stuff. Like, I feel like most times it is just. In my personal opinion, it is like maybe we are just computers and we're picking up different frequencies, and that's when you see people like you that are sensitive to that, or more intuitive or more intuitive to that. Is it just your frequency intake is just more aligned than everyone else? Like that's how I can now. I was gonna say that may not be like you may not.
I actually do agree.
Beyond that, but
I agree vibrationally. But I think that some people just we're born like this. We're born to do this. For whatever reason. I think that anyone can raise their vibration. I think that anyone can be sensitive. I don't think that it's specific. And say, no, well, you can't because you'll never have experience. I can't say, John, you're never going to feel it because you haven't already. Right. No, I can't, because I don't believe that. I think that if you wanted to, you could. If you really were ready and you really prepared yourself for it, you really focused on energy work, on your vibrations to raise your frequencies, to expand your awareness of other things, I think you could do it. I think anybody could do it. I was never told to shut that off. Ever at all. So I don't know. My best friend's mom told me that I had the devil in me because only the devil works with dead people. Yeah. And I was like,
stop. I was gonna say from the overall,
I'm used to that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But to me, I wasn't raised with that, so I have no idea what that must feel like to be like. I don't know what she's talking about because. Everybody was like this in my family.
I was gonna say, and that was the thing is like the way that I grew up, it was always weird for me because I was in between.
That's what I mean. You're like, I don't know.
Two households, like I was reined in one household, and then I was free to do whatever I wanted to do, and I was with, well,
that's confusing in its own.
It's frustrating, but like my dad at the same time. My dad shares my constant, like I got my constant curiosity for everything through my dad, and knowing that on the weekends we need something to do. So we're going to the movies, we're reading books, we're doing whatever it is. And so I was always kind of out because, my dad and I would watch the X-Files, and then we dig into stuff like that. And we'd go, we go out and we do like ghost hunts and stuff like that. And it was just so different than what I was dealing with in my house that like, I believed in stuff like that back when I was a kid because I already had been informed on. I didn't have that fearful aspect of it like most people around here would have, where they just don't understand something, so they're terrified of it and they run away from it.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm not trying to shed my dad in the light like he's wearing a robe and being like some super positive shaman. Like he's kind of an asshole too, but whatever, but it was just environmentally, it was different that I could, if I wanted to go learn something, if I wanted to put a model airplane together, we're going to go do that. We're going to learn all about it, know, how everything works. And that's my whole thing is like, once I find something that I like, I've got to dig it all the way. I've got to boil everything down to the base principles and do it.
That's me too, a little bit.
It's frustrating. But yeah, I was going to say, it just, and the overall compunction that I do believe eventually we're going to be computers, but maybe everyone that's more aligned with finding new frequencies and seeing different things, maybe they are just the next step in the evolutionary chain, because the only place we have to go now, we have opposable thumbs and communication
we don't
devices.
Have wings. I'm kind of upset about.
I'm bummed by that too, but we're gonna have hollow bones, and that's not fun. I know somebody who has naturally.
That's true.
I know somebody who has a disorder with.
No, that's not
bones.
Good.
Woo, it's rough. But as I said, it'd be rough to learn to fly with those. No, the next step. The next step is like we're good. We're opposable thumbs. We can talk to each other. We can communicate. We can do art. We can do everything. Is like, okay, well, where's the next logical evolutionary step? Well, in the mind.
Yeah.
Maybe the next step is the subconscious becomes the conscious, and the ability to manipulate the subconscious and the lower levels of everything that we're looking at, just like an audio file where there's many layers to an audio file. Maybe we'll be able to start, getting into that, because we don't need tails, we don't need to swim, we don't need mermaid feet as much as my wife would like to have for us to start being mermaids.
Define need.
Yeah, but we don't need to expand out into water that we can't drink.
What we need are more healers and more lovers and more empaths and more compassion and more humanity is what we need.
I absolutely
And I
agree.
think that the evolution of that has begun. There's more and more people that are sensitive.
Yeah.
There's more and more people that are leaving traditional values and saying this never fit me. I always felt like I had to, shun this part of me. I'm interested in Reiki, or I'm interested in tarot, or astrology makes sense to me. I've noticed synchronicities, anything like that. It all goes back to opening. We're becoming aware, as a species. I mean, really pretty quickly. We are, if you look at it globally, pretty quickly. Look at America right now. A lot of people are starting to wake up and realize that, guess what? The president's kind of just a figurehead, and that's not where the main issue is when it comes to what's happening. Really.
Well, yeah, that
when it comes to Congress and stuff, not other things, but like what the bills are and all of that, that's important.
Yeah.
My generation way back when I was like in high school, I didn't get that so much. I didn't get it. I thought like, oh my God, if Al Gore doesn't win, that's what I thought.
No,
and that's not so important, and people are starting to get that.
Yeah. The thing is, like, everybody thinks that like the next step is to take out, to remove the president to remove the office of the presidency, but that's not going to do anything for us. We got to deal with all of the management sucks. All of them. The manager and all of his assistant managers and all of their assistant managers are working in a system that is broken, because that system here never took into account the fact that we were going to have so many people and we're going to need to care for those people. Because originally, when we were only 13 colonies and we were barely the East Coast, we had you jump in your horse and 15 days later, you're seeing your friend, and everybody knows each other. And believe it or not, it's hard to fathom that communication could have been so deep back then, because everything was so time consuming. But it was people were interconnected from Maine all the way to Florida, and people were involved. And
they made sure to.
And when they made this system, that system could care for that small amount of people. Tiny amount of people.
Very small.
But now
less than a city now, probably.
Yeah, but now even with all the rules, even with all the changes to the laws, the giant book of statutes, etc., all that extra work doesn't solve the problem that the baser model does not fit this anymore, and we need to fix the baser model. We can fix the baser model without chaos.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But it seems like the distraction is this digital media tribalism of, well, this is my team and this is only my team and I refuse to learn otherwise and I refuse to do anything about it, and that's it. And that's the problem, is that we can't take out the management when the other employees that we have to deal with are unwilling to be even on a more standard level with us. When people are more willing to shun everyone else over simple things, not goofy things, whatever, a personal tick, political values. If you're willing to give up on people over that rather than actually explore them, then you, as well as the system that everyone needs to change, is not accepting the fact that we're all human.
I agree.
And if we can't accept the fact that we are all human and go from there and be love from that moment, know that no matter what, no matter how many times your grandma uses the N-word, she's still your grandma. It's okay. She's still your grandma. She's a wonderful human being.
You have to understand their time period was different. They're stuck in their ways. They're not always right.
Yeah.
It's not up to us to judge, really.
And if we stop...
I would tell my grandma not to in front of my kids.
Well, yeah, no, absolutely.
Definitely. That would not fly.
No. Like, it's not cool, and it's not anything.
It's not okay. Yeah. It's not.
We'll say it's a bad example. Anyway, but but what we need to do is come together more as humans and see that first versus see anything else, because anything else doesn't matter at all.
Nothing really. It doesn't matter. What we look like doesn't matter.
No.
What we practice doesn't matter, as long as it's not hurting anybody. That's what I believe. I mean, if it's all in love and light, I don't care if you're Muslim, I don't care if you're Jewish, I don't care if you're one of my best friends, one of my good friends is Orthodox Baptist, and she is 10 years younger than me. Almost. Wow. Yeah, she's one of my best friends, probably. And that's really strange. She is a farming family, a hunting family, super religious, Orthodox family. I am, against pretty much firearms. I'm against hunting. I saw Bambi. I still cry. Yeah. I don't really know how I feel about the dairy industry at all. And that's one of the things that they like to do is she works at a dairy. So it's like, I'm like, but we come together on so many things and we have disagreed. Yeah. She knows what I do. She knows I have this ability. She knows what I believe in and what I don't believe in. Yeah. And it's different than what she is, but we talk about it.
Yeah.
That's all we do is we just talk about it. It's so easy to do. Like, we're completely different. You would say that we would have nothing in common. We would hate each other. No, we love each other. We're different. That's okay. And there's a lot of times that she has taught me. And there's a lot of times that I think that I have helped her. So I think that we don't need to hate anybody for anything. Matter of fact, It's so stupid and petty. And if you talk to people, some of the greatest people you'll ever meet, completely opposite ideology than you, and that is okay. Completely okay. Like, that is a beautiful thing. Actually, I would be so upset if I died and the only people I knew were just like me. Like, I would be bored. I would be so bored. I couldn't do it. I like hearing stories. I like telling stories. I like learning new stories. I'll hear a story and then tell somebody else that same story that day and be like, this happened to this dude. I like that. I like sharing experience and knowledge and just socializing in that manner. If they were all like me and agreed with me every single time,
it'd be...
I would rather not be around them. I would just be like, look, I'll be in the mountains. I'll be that crazy person who hears voices in the mountains,
Yeah, I was going to say...
That'd be so boring. Who would want to live like that?
And that's what...
Have they thought that out?
Yeah. Well, with everything, like, if ever... And with a commonality of basing everything off of like your Facebook life or whatever. Oh, yeah, God. It is all just like it is all selective breeding of. You're making your little echo chambers so that you get on, and nobody could possibly disagree with you, and there's no like. It's just boring.
Yeah, my posts are not up for debate.
Yeah,
shut up. You posted it. Like I don't debate very much, but I'm just saying it drives me nuts when I see that. Yeah, because it's like,
yeah, but like, no, I agree. It is good to keep. It is good to keep people in your like to seek out people that don't see the world that you do, because if you don't look at something in a different light, it's never going to like you're never going to fully understand it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's goofy.
But yeah, I'm not saying go like hang out with like hateful people because that's something that you need to be cut out. You know, you need to cut that out completely and just pray that they get healed, because I think that's what they need. Yeah. To be fair.
No, I
from a distance, from over there.
that's the one frustration that I've dealt with lately is that like I can't just cut out everyone for the sake of every reason that they're that they're shitty. I get it, the people are shitty, but I can't I'm absolutely intolerant of hate, of hatefulness, of hate groups, of you flying the flag of whatever hooded asshole that you love. Like I'm not going to tolerate that, but at the same time I'm not going to be fiery and rhetorically angry about everything all the time, because I have a life to lead. You
exactly.
know, like,
who has time for that?
Yeah, it's just it's weird. I don't know. People are strange.
I have every once in a while I'll get heated about something. Yeah. I'll be real. I'm not gonna lie. Every once in a while I'll get heated. I'm checking it. I'm trying to keep it in check, because it's a much happier life to live without that, and a much more productive life to live without that. That goes back into raising those vibrations and being above that and not being, part of it. But it's hard to do. I find myself getting caught up in the addiction talks on Facebook. That's a big thing right now, and for good reason. The epidemic and whatnot, and all the hate. There's a big, huge stigma right now with being an addict, and that's not going to help any of them. I don't feel. No, not. I really don't feel. I don't feel, because this one and done. Oh, we'll give them one, and then if they do it again, let them die. We'll just let them die. That's some of the best people that I know were former addicts. Yeah. People do get better. People do die. However, there's a lot of arguments that are bullshit, to be fair. Like the arguments against why, people that just hate addicts, just the idea of it. Their arguments are ridiculous. Like, oh, cancer patients, they can't get, treatment for free. It's not the same thing. No. Narcan is not free, for one thing. They will charge you. I was gonna say they're gonna charge you. They will charge you. Wreck your credit, and they're gonna make it hard for you to live. That's. I don't like that.
It's such a frustrating thing, because, I've had more than. Lord, I think I'm up to like 4 or 5 now ODs in my life. It's not me personally, but like, friends of mine that are gone now. Right. And if you're not in any position that you've ever experienced something like that. Right. If you've never, like, even on the like baser addictions of things, like the addiction to obsessive shopping, playing the scratch off lottery, or going home and gorging on a cake, having all these, like, if you don't look at yourself as I have problems too, you're never going to look at somebody and be like, well, they have a problem and we need to help them. You're going to look at them as, well, they're not as great as me. Exactly. And it's like, I don't take that kind of path when I've quit drinking, quit smoking, quit gorging myself, lost 165 pounds. I do not look to belittle anyone, right? Because I have been a success. All I want is for people to be successful, and it doesn't matter what it is. Like, if you have something that you want to change, what can we do to help you change it? Yeah. Like, let's go from that angle rather than being dicks. Yeah.
I agree.
And if I can look,
I completely agree. It's a better way. It's a high path to take. It really is.
It's just, we got to be like that. We got to help each other.
We don't need to bash each other. Yeah. Like, we need to lift each other up. And I don't think anybody's ever thought of you as the type that would be an asshole. So that's good for you because you're just not. You're not like that.
And I'm definitely.
You're more down to earth.
I'm definitely mouthy though. Sometimes I'm mouthy and I'm painfully precise with and if anybody gives me a hard time, I'm going to be. I'm gonna rip them apart. I'm gonna make them hurt emotionally, and they're gonna carry it with them for the rest of their life.
See, I try not to do that, but yes, I do have that same potential. Are you like a Gemini?
No, I'm a Cancer.
Oh, you're June.
Yeah.
Oh,
June,
see.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yep, end of June. That's me. And it's like that's why I have problems with like going out and doing stuff. Like this weekend, don't get me wrong, it was super fun. I was really happy to be around my wife's family, all 19 of them.
In the mountains?
They're great people. Yeah, they're in the mountains. But like by the first night that we got there, I realized the stars came out and Cherry Springs was an hour and a half drive away, and it was a moonless night. And I was like, all right, fuck these people. I'm going to Cherry Springs. And then my wife was like, no, we're on vacation with these people. We have to stick around. Like we can't just, John, you have to learn to turn that off. And it's like, I had to wrestle that all weekend, but I did come to terms with that fact that like, I do have a problem with, I have a penchant for being involved in one thing and then trying to uninvolve myself from that thing and then being the asshole because I did uninvolve myself.
Yeah.
Like I disengaged entirely and then I'm the mean
social
guy.
Situations freak me out.
Yeah, it gets to me, and like impulse control is a problem of mine. So it's kind of how it goes. But my pull-out game is strong.
That's good. That's always a plus.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding.
That is a plus.
But no, I just thought that was a good way to just find our center again. Is there anything else? Yeah, I was gonna say, is there anything else you want to go on about?
I don't really know.
I don't know either. I think you're fascinating. I think you're a fascinating human being, and I just like. I don't think you're afforded enough opportunities for people to know how awesome you are, and I'm kind of
awkward. I'm socially awkward.
I know, you're genuinely socially awkward. Because,
no, truly.
Yeah.
Genuinely, truly, socially fucking awkward.
Yeah, you're a weirdo.
I am. I tell people this, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm socially awkward too," and I'm like, "No,
yeah, just cause
no. If there was a real fucking scale, I'd be on it."
No, but I was gonna say,
I think I'm autistic.
You might be.
You think that's possible?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't think it was prevalent in our era anyway. No. So, I mean, the likelihood of you being on
you know why? Because I was an asshole.
Well, you were pretty mean.
Yeah, I was horrible. I was awful.
No, I was going to say, I think you defined acting out.
Yeah.
Like, for anything that bothered you.
Yes.
Any little minor
I'm much
thing.
better now, aren't I?
Yes.
And no meds. This is all just like energy work.
Yeah, you took it
some
to
Zen shit.
Yeah, you took it to fucking nuclear.
I took it to new levels.
Yeah, you took it to whatever level 3 that the president has.
It was
everything was DEFCON 3 with you.
It was
always.
It was.
Oh my God.
It was. I sometimes forget. I've known you for like, what, 14 years? 15 years?
Roughly like that.
Some shit like that. When I was crazy.
When you were a freshman, I met you, actually.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Oh, I wasn't too bad as a freshman.
No, you got much worse afterwards. And I was going to say, and you were friends with my wife, so we're definitely we're definitely interconnected. But it's been a long time.
I've known Katie my whole life.
She's a sweetheart.
She's like literally one of the people that they, I think, assigned to be my friend. No, I'm not kidding. I didn't have any friends when I was like really young. I was completely afraid of people. Yeah. So I didn't go around them. So I would like get my lunch and take it to the office and eat. In recess, I wasn't going back out there.
Jeez.
I was like bullied and sent to the hospital. So I just stayed in, and then they assigned Katie McDonald and Katie Bozart because her mom knew my mom from PTO.
Right.
So they talked, and then her mom's like, "Oh, well, Katie can hang out with her." It was a pity thing. Katie only likes me still as a pity thing. No. Like, that's truly all pity.
I think
she's like, "Oh, but I have to be her friend though still because my mom made me." She's like, literally. So I've known her for a very long time, and she was literally one of the only 2 people that I talked to.
That's so
during one period that was very long period of my life.
That's so. I was gonna say that's so weird to know you now in life because like you're not. Once the dam breaks or the wall comes down, that's not you at all.
No.
And like yeah.
Well, that's what I was really good at, putting up a wall where I was like the ultimate bitch.
Yeah.
Like you could not get any meaner or any ruder or any.
I was terrified of you.
Awful.
When we first met, I was like
more than me.
I was physically scared of you.
Really? Oh my God! Don't say that, John. That makes me sound awful.
Like,
I'm 5 foot and like what?
If you're 5'4", maybe
5 foot, 5'1" in the morning.
Yeah.
In the morning.
There you go. Because I
shrink by the end of the day. I'm like almost 5'1" in the morning.
But
and
yeah, no, like you're just
solid 5.
You were just so ready to. You were the dog that barked loudest.
Yes. Yeah, I would. Yeah, Scrappy.
Yeah, but
I would call it Scrappy. I think I'm doing better, and that's all vibrational stuff. Honestly, and 3 kids.
Yes, I was gonna say your patience has to be like through the roof.
No,
I have no patience whatsoever.
I'm trying to learn patience. I have none, but I've become a lot more humble.
Yeah,
you have to. After 3 kids,
I'm sure.
Like you have nothing left. There's no modesty. There's no cute part of your body anymore. You are tired. You are broken. That's how you see truth. Then there's no bullshit. You might as well not worry about what bikini you're wearing because guess what?
Yeah,
it's not
I was gonna say,
not gonna be the same. Like I think that's good though. I wouldn't change it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything that's happened to me because I am a stretch marked mess after kids. I would not take that back because you know what? It keeps me in check.
No,
and I need that. But I need that. I need to stay in check because I'm afraid to ever go back to what I used to be. Quite honestly, I've had that fear. Of like, what if? Because I was really mean. And it was all insecurity.
All
of it.
I was going to say, if anything, like, you could... Even if your ego took over again, like...
Yeah. Oh, trust me. If I get pissed off, I am still scary.
Yeah.
You can ask Jake. He's terrified.
I'm sure of that. And, but, like... But no, like, even if you... even if you decide to let your ego take over and run that gamut with that, like, I still think all 3 kids will keep you in check.
Oh
no matter what. Like,
you
should be...
Like, there's no more ego.
No. Yeah, I can't imagine. Like, you're just dealing with all 3 of them.
I'm just like, I'm done. I don't have much fight in me anymore. Every once in a while, but literally that's what it is. I've like worn out of the scrappies.
Yeah.
I'm just not scrappy anymore.
Just tired, trying to get it done.
That's how I am. I'm just tired. I'm just like, hey, how are you? I have no makeup on. Whatever. Like,
You're doing good. I was gonna say, and even
this is like what I slept in. This is my shirt last night. I slept in cat hair and all.
You're still the cutest.
Cat hair.
You fall into like one of those like, when you find like, when like there's that cat or whatever that's just like weird and kind of like scratches people a lot, but you look at it and you're like, you're the cutest fucking cat in the entire world. You're like, that's how I feel when I look at you. You're just the cutest fucking human being, and you're just. No matter what you do and no matter how bad like you've ever been or I've seen you at some of your high peaks, you're still just so fucking cute.
Oh, well, thank you. But there's a lot of people that would disagree. But yeah.
It's because people just don't see the world the way it is. It's fantastic.
True. That's true. That's a good sentiment.
So, but all right. Well, I'll let you go because I don't want to take up your whole day. I'm sure you got cool shit to do.
I got mom shit to do. I'm going to go home and take a nap.
Yeah, there you go. Go home, take a nap, wait for your kids to get done school.
Oh, hey, I do want to say.
Oh, yeah,
Scotty did that. Scotty McMaster at Grindhouse.
Yeah, he did your thermal.
Yes.
It's good that you got it right there, too, because like it's really made it easier for me to focus on your eyes during this conversation. I have a problem with making eye contact with people when I talk.
Oh, I used to. Now I force myself to.
But that's great because like I have that.
You
distraction.
can focus on that. Oh, exactly. You're welcome.
So you did great, and I was gonna say he'll be here at like 9:30 tonight. He's my last interview.
Nice. Tell him I said hi.
Will do.
And if anybody's gonna go to get a piercing, they should go to him because he's good. I'm taking my son to get his ears pierced when he gets a good report card.
Yeah.
He's 8. He's gonna get his ears pierced. Scotty's gonna do it. I already took him in, let him meet him.
Yeah.
I think they need to build that repertoire.
Oh yeah,
between them, I really believe in that. Yeah. So I let him meet him first, and then Scotty did my mom's dermal too on her finger.
Oh, that's cool. I don't think I've seen that yet.
He's the family piercer.
Oh.
My mom came home and said that.
No.
Like she was like, "Oh, I met Scotty," and I was like, "What?"
I was gonna say I barely know your mom. I love her.
Oh,
she's so wonderful.
Yeah.
And she's mean too.
Yeah.
Runs in the family.
Yes. You don't want to piss any of us off.
Nope. Just be nice and try to stay off the radar.
Yeah. If you don't hear us, just smile and nod.
Exactly. But all right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been fun.
It was. See.